Germany orders 23 Rheinmetall Bergepanzer recovery vehicles to rebuild Leopard 2 support capacity. Germany will buy 23 Rheinmetall Bergepanzer 3 A2 Büffel armored recovery vehicles to restore a recovery capability weakened by earlier transfers to Ukraine, Rheinmetall announced on June 23, 2026. The order strengthens Bundeswehr Leopard 2 units by giving them a more protected capacity to recover tanks disabled by mines, mobility damage, or battlefield breakdowns before those losses become permanent combat gaps. The Bergepanzer 3A2 will allow German armored formations to retrieve, tow, and support heavy combat vehicles under threat, a mission that is critical to keeping tanks in the fight during high-intensity operations. Deliveries are scheduled from December 2027 to June 2029, reinforcing Germany's broader effort to rebuild armored readiness and sustain heavy forces for NATO deterrence. The procurement is formally a replacement order, but it is not a simple administrative replenishment. Germany had transferred 21 Bergepanzer 2 vehicles and 2 Bergepanzer 3 vehicles to Ukraine. The new batch replaces that lost inventory with 23 modernized Bergepanzer 3 A2 vehicles, giving the Bundeswehr a heavier and more Leopard 2 compatible recovery fleet than the older Leopard 1-based Bergepanzer 2 could provide. That distinction matters because the current German heavy force is built around vehicles in the Leopard 2 weight class, including Leopard 2A6, Leopard 2A7V, and future Leopard 2A8 main battle tanks. A recovery vehicle that cannot safely pull, lift, tow, or support these tanks under field conditions becomes a constraint on maneuver rather than a useful support asset. Ezoic. The Bergepanzer 3 Büffel was developed specifically to solve the recovery problem created by the higher weight of the Leopard 2 compared with the Leopard 1. It is based on the Leopard 2 chassis, uses a 3-man crew, and is designed to recover and tow tracked vehicles up to military load classification 80, including from difficult terrain and water obstacles. Rheinmetall lists more than 200 Bergepanzer 3 vehicles in use with 12 nations, which is relevant for Germany because it supports common training, shared technical knowledge, and possible interoperability within the Leopard user community. The vehicle's main tools are not weapons but load handling and extraction equipment. Rheinmetall's current Buffalo 3 description identifies a 32-ton crane, main and auxiliary winches, a dozer blade, battlefield recovery equipment, and digitalized vehicle architecture. The earlier detailed Bergepanzer 3 description gives further data: a hydraulically operated crane on the front right of the hull, 270-degree traverse, and a 30-ton maximum hook load at a short outreach of 90 centimeters from the front edge of the blade. In practical terms, this allows crews to exchange heavy power packs, lift damaged assemblies, support turret or engine work, and reduce the need to evacuate every disabled tank to a rear maintenance area. The main winch is central to the tactical value of the Büffel. Rheinmetall identifies the Rötzler Traumatic TR6503 winch with 35 tons of direct pulling force, rising to 70 tons in double pull and 105 tons in triple pull. The 33 mm main cable has a total length of 160 meters, of which 140 meters are usable. In first gear, it can generate 343 knots at 16 meters per minute, while second gear provides 47 knots at 83 meters per minute. These figures are important because recovery under fire is partly a timing and distance problem. A longer cable lets the recovery crew work from a less exposed position. Higher pulling force allows extraction from soft ground, ditch lines, broken tracks, and mine-damaged mobility kills without immediately committing additional vehicles. Ezoic. The auxiliary winch has a narrower but still important role. Rheinmetall describes a Rötzler HC010 auxiliary winch with 13.5 to 15.5 knots of pulling force, a 230-meter cable, and a 7.2 mm cable diameter, used to feed the main winch cable or recovery equipment to an anchor point. The front support and clearing blades stabilize the vehicle during crane or winch operations, support earth moving, and assist rapid recovery under armor. The running gear can also be hydraulically blocked during crane work, reducing vehicle movement under load. These details show why the Büffel is more than a tow tractor. It is a mobile repair and recovery node for armored units operating where roads, bridges, and hardstand maintenance areas may not be available. The armament is defensive and should be understood in that context. Rheinmetall's detailed description identifies a manually operated roof weapon station for a 7.62 by 51 mm MG3A1T machine gun that can be fired by the commander from inside the vehicle under armor, although reloading requires access through the commander's hatch. It also has electrically fired 76 mm smoke grenade launchers. Rheinmetall's newer product description refers to a remote-controlled weapon station and smoke grenade launcher for self-defense, indicating that current configurations can be adapted to reduce crew exposure. This armament is not intended for direct combat against tanks or infantry fighting vehicles. It is intended to suppress dismounted threats, protect the crew during hookup and recovery, and create obscuration when enemy observation or laser designation threatens the worksite. The Büffel's automotive base gives it the mobility needed to accompany heavy formations rather than trail them at a distance. Rheinmetall identifies the engine as the 47.6-liter MTU MB873 Ka5 A1 12-cylinder multi-fuel diesel, producing 1,100 kilowatts, or 1,500 horsepower, at 2,600 revolutions per minute, coupled to the Rank HSWL 354 hydromechanical transmission. The engine is designed as a removable power block with quick-disconnect couplings, allowing replacement under field conditions with limited disassembly. For a brigade maintenance officer, that reduces repair time and improves fleet availability. For a battalion commander, it means damaged tanks can be recovered and cycled back into action rather than written off. The operational effect of the order is therefore measured less in the number 23 than in where these vehicles will sit inside Germany's force structure. Heavy armored units consume recovery capacity quickly during exercises and faster still in combat, especially when mines, artillery fragments, drones, and track damage create mobility casualties. By replacing older and transferred recovery vehicles with Bergepanzer 3A2S, Germany is reinforcing the support layer required to keep Leopard 2 formations usable over several days of operations. The order does not introduce a new combat arm. It addresses a practical readiness problem that becomes visible only when tanks stop moving. For NATO planning, that is the relevant point. Armor deterrence depends not only on how many main battle tanks are in service, but also on how many can be recovered, repaired, and returned to the fight after the first contact.